Now, if you actually click on part 2, this is part 2. The story was different, though the actual gameplay remained unchanged. I went north like I was supposed to. Went from town to town collecting badges, receiving the praise of the leaders. Steven's fame even seemed to spread, as some PCs would talk to him like he knew him. I used Makey for every battle, so she was moving surprisingly fast. She handled Brock with ease. Even pounded Misty with no trouble at all. She wasn't an adversely affected by super effective attacks as others did, more damage than a regular. I'm sorry, I'm even stuttering right now. I recorded this at the same time that I recorded part 1. Charmander, she, I'm gonna start over from a little bit back. She wasn't as adversely affected by super effective attacks as others did, more damage than a regular Charmander. She was very, she was a very, I can't read that word, I am sorry. She was a powerhouse. She even became a Charizard at the mere level of 25. Not bad at all, I must say. Things started to get weird though. As soon as I reached Lavender Town, I knew Lavender Town is I know Lavender Town is the biggest focus behind every creepypasta story and stuff like that. But it was the only place that was noticeably different. There was no Team Rocket invasion. When I found it odd. Sorry about the stutteries, which I found odd. Though I did remember this was a year in the past, so the invasion wouldn't occur until Red's time. I tried to enter the Pokemon Tower, aiming to get a Ghastly, but that's when it got odd. Steven, I have no reason to be here. Steven wouldn't go into Pokemon Tower, no matter what I did. This was weird. I mean, hell, there are a million places in Kanto that you really have no need to be. Little random houses with nothing but children NPCs, for example. Why is it that here that Steven wouldn't enter? With a shrug, I figured I wouldn't need a Ghastly, seeing as Mickey could handle anything, so I simply went on my way. Lavender Town serving no purpose other than a passageway into a Pokemon Center. Well, with a Pokemon Center. The game progressed normally from there. The remaining gyms fell, and eventually I made my way to the Elite Four and defeated them. As with Blue, my brother, Mickey was Mike was there before me, initiating the championships battle, which Mickey swept with ease. The aftermath of the battle was quite pleasant. I'm sorry I lost the parts. The aftermath of the battle was quite pleasant, none of the tension that was present between Red and Blue. At the end of their match, the brothers congratulated each other on their progress and shook. Why, phone, why? And shook hands. Before the screen went white, no Hall of Fame, nor any credits. When the screen came back, it was at their house again. The two brothers sitting at the computer, conversating with each other. Steven. Don't want to. Mike. Come on, I just gotta borrow her for a second to finish the Pokédex. The enter won't register unless she recognizes me as Master for a second. Steven. But she's my Mickey. Mike. I promise I'll give her back. Come on, please. Yes or no. I was a bit perplexed, so I hit no to be cautious. Mike. Come on, please. No. Come on, please. I realized this would simply continue to loop until I hit yes. So I did, just to see what would happen. Mike. Alright, this will just take a sec. Well, then we'll both be Pokemon Masters. Steven. So basically silence. The screen changed to the animation showing when two people trade Pokemon, which I found a bit weird, seeing as I was solo. But whatever. This was what was apparently supposed to happen. Miki went first. I watched lazily as she began to travel down the trading tube. Snap. That made me jump. The sudden noise resonating in my silent bedroom, loud due to the volume being way up. Looking at the screen, I noticed the game had seemed to freeze, Mickey still in mid-trade, but the game wasn't doing anything. With a sigh, I turned off the game, wondering when my last save was. When the game turned back on, I stared for a moment at the start screen. There was no Charizard next to the trainer. Upon pressing start, I saw the new game option was absent, leaving only continue. This was strange, to say the least, so I selected it. The game starting without even showing my stats as usual. My jaw dropped at what I was greeted with. 1 year later. Lavender Town's theme came first, playing its normal way. The screen slowly fading in its blackness, fading from blackness. Stephen was in the Pokemon Tower, which made the music even stranger, seeing as the tower had its own theme. He was standing in front of a tombstone, not doing anything. Wondering what was going on, I pressed A. Stephen? ... Confused, I tried walking, realizing I was indeed controlling the movement. I brought up the pause menu and checked my party. Mickey was gone. Not just Mickey, all my Pokemon. He had nothing. Pokédex was absent from the menu. His they put bad instead of bag, I'm sorry. His bag was empty. Honestly concerned now. I checked his trainer card. He had no money. He had no badges. His playtime was 8,795, which was impossible, as I had only 30 logged in before. But that wasn't the strange part. His picture of the handsome, confident young trainer was different. His eyes were black. His face was turned slightly down. That smirk of his was gone, replaced by a lack of any expression at all. That long hair of his, before in its perfect perm, was now messy and unkempt. I couldn't look at him any more. Closing the menu, I went to move out of the tower, but with every step I took away from the tombstone, the screen flickered, like it was with Pokemon when a Pokemon was poisoned. Gulping, I brought up the trainer card again. His picture was getting worse. Every step I took, he hung his head more and more. His shoulders slumped. He bent over. By the time I had exited the tower, he was on his knees, hands on his face, hair draped across him. I had guessed already what was going on, but this clinched it. I began to put some things together in my mind. I had always wondered why there was no champion in the original games besides your rival. Why it is you, the protagonist, had to beat your rival when he just waltzed in, no previous champion to the challenge. Then it struck me, the answer was right here. The previous champion gave up. His precious Mickey was apparently dead, and with her, so died a part of him. His Pokédex, the other Pokemon, his badges, his fame, all of it, he threw it away. In that year, the year I had missed, the year where all those hours came from, I even did the math. There is 8,765 hours in a year. Add that to my 30 from before and it matched up. Even so, the game kept going. This should have been an ending, I thought. I mean, what else is there to do? I had no Pokédex, no Pokemon, not anything. What was I supposed to be doing? I talked to everybody in the town, but they all said similar things like, "Are you okay?" "Still mourning, I see." "Everything will be alright." "Please, is there anything we can do?" Stephen never replied to them, and they all simply said the same things over and over. I couldn't put the game down now. This is all so strange. Curious, I headed off into the tall grass. and eventually got into a battle with a Rattata. No Pokemon was sent out, just Steven sprites. I was wondering how I'd battle. Wild Rattata left you be. The battle ended without anything happening. This was certainly interesting. And it happened with every Pokemon I encountered. Wild Pidgey ignored you. Wild Ponyta wandered off. The music never changed either. No matter where I went, Lavender Town came from the speakers, following me, sometimes slowed down slightly, sometimes not. I searched everywhere, every town, talked to everybody, wondering just what the hell I needed to do. My frustration was mixing with the depressing atmosphere of all this, making the experience altogether unnerving and uncomfortable. But I couldn't tear myself away. I was starting to get a bit angry though. Nobody telling me anything besides giving me their condolences and trying to give me items like lemonade or coffee, each met with Stephen. No. I slapped myself for idiocy, suddenly realizing how the likely answer was right in front of me. Pallet Town, of course! When I went there though, which took me a long time having to walk, no Pokemon to fly, with no bicycle to ride, and Stephen only seemed to move half the regular movement speed. It wasn't much different. I first tried to talk to Professor Oak. These things happen. You were just unlucky. Next, I tried Blue's sister. Please, don't leave home again. Red's mom wouldn't even talk to me at all. With nowhere else left, and with nowhere else in mind to go, I walked to the west, finding the house from the beginning, which I had never entered since leaving Pallet Town. Inside was Mike, but talking to him was just useless. Mike, I'm so sorry. I pondered for a moment if this was really ending. Stephen doomed to do nothing but roam Kanto in misery, haunted by the memories, forced to listen to everybody's concerns about him. At a last-ditch effort to do anything, I went to the bedroom and walked over to his bed. Stephen, I'm going to sleep. The screen faded to black for a moment, but then slowly faded back into the world, having a blank tint to it. The Mike sprites laying in the other bed. I assumed this meant it was night. Stephen, I'm going to do it. Do what? Again, I had no idea. Tried inspecting everything in his room. Nothing happened. As soon as I left the house, another dialogue. Stephen, it can bring you back. It can do anything. What the hell was it? Something that couldn't do anything? Like something that could do anything? I couldn't, for the life of me, figure it out. I tried to leave Pallet Town the usual way. Stephen, not that way. He wouldn't go any further. I tried the homes. Stephen, screw them. I quirked my eyebrow at that, forgetting for a moment that this was not a real Pokemon game. The vulgarity just took me off guard. I continued to look around, but there was nowhere I could go until I accidentally stepped on the ocean. Stephen walked right in. Only the upper half of his sprite was visible, like the swimmers you encounter in the Cerulean Gym and out on the ocean. I didn't know he could swim. Stephen, missing one. Missing one? Wait, I'm sorry, I have to stop this right now. Yeah. Part 2 will probably be out at the same time. No, not Part 2. Part 3 will probably be out at the same time this is out. So, if you want to continue the story, and Part 3 is probably going to be the last one, or almost the last one. So, bye peoples. This is Part 2, and next is Part 3. It'll be out soon, and yeah, bye.